You're walking to your mailbox and halfway there your legs feel like concrete blocks. That burning sensation creeps up your calves and you've got to stop and catch your breath. Not because your heart is racing, but because your legs are betraying you. You look down at your feet and they're that pale grayish color again, cold to the touch even though it's 70 degrees outside. Every single morning you wake up to those awful leg cramps that jolt you out of sleep at 3 in the morning, and you're massaging your calves in the dark, wondering if this is just how life is supposed to be now that you've crossed 60. Listen to me very carefully, because what I'm about to share with you isn't something most doctors talk about during your 10-minute appointment. There's one specific vitamin, not magnesium like everyone's been telling you, that's been proven in clinical studies to restore blood flow to your legs after 60. I've talked to women who couldn't walk to their car without stopping 3 times, and within 8 weeks of addressing this one vitamin deficiency, they were walking around the grocery store without that heavy dragging feeling. One man shared how he'd been taking magnesium for 2 years with 0 improvement. But when he switched to this vitamin, his nighttime leg cramps decreased by 70% in just 6 weeks. Before we go any further, do me a quick favor and hit that like button right now. Comment your age below so we can build a community of people taking charge of their health at every stage of life. I read every single comment and your stories inspire me to keep making these videos. Now let's dive into what's really happening in your legs after 60 and why you need to know about this. Your legs aren't weak because you're getting old. That's the lie that keeps millions of Americans suffering unnecessarily. What's actually happening inside your blood vessels is something doctors call arterial calcification. Think of it like rust building up inside a pipe. When you're younger, your body has this incredible system for keeping calcium where it belongs in your bones and teeth. But after 60, if you're deficient in one specific vitamin, calcium starts depositing into the walls of your arteries instead. These arteries in your legs become stiff and narrow, like trying to push water through a coffee stirrer instead of a garden hose. The blood flow slows to a trickle, and suddenly your leg muscles aren't getting the oxygen and nutrients they desperately need. This is why your calves burn when you walk. This is why your feet are always cold. This is why you wake up with those violent cramps in the middle of the night. Your muscles are literally starving for oxygen-rich blood, and they're screaming at you the only way they know how. Medical research has shown that over 60% of Americans over 60 have some degree of peripheral artery disease, and many don't even know it because they think these symptoms are just part of aging. They're not. Let me tell you about Margaret from Texas. She's 67, and for 3 years she'd been taking magnesium supplements because her doctor told her it would help with her leg cramps. Nothing changed. She still couldn't make it through a trip to the store without having to stop and rest. Her ankles swelled up by evening and her feet were so numb she couldn't feel the pedals in her car properly. When she learned about the vitamin I'm going to tell you about, she started supplementing, and within 2 months she told me she felt like she got her legs back. The constant aching stopped. The cramps that woke her up 3 times a night became rare. She could walk her neighborhood again without fear of her legs giving out. Coming in at number 5 on our countdown, we need to talk about vitamin D3, but not in the way you've heard before. Most people know vitamin D is important for bones, but here's what makes this especially critical for leg circulation after 60. Vitamin D regulates how your blood vessels respond to stress and inflammation. Studies in older adults have found that people with vitamin D levels below 30 nanograms per milliliter had significantly stiffer arteries compared to those with adequate levels. Think of vitamin D as the manager that keeps your blood vessel walls flexible and responsive, able to widen when you need more blood flow during activity. When you're deficient, those blood vessel walls become rigid and inflamed. This inflammation attracts more calcium deposits and creates a vicious cycle. What this really means is your leg arteries can't dilate properly when you start walking, so blood flow stays restricted even when your muscles are begging for more oxygen. You'll notice this as that heavy leaden feeling in your thighs when you try to climb stairs. Many American seniors are severely deficient in vitamin D, especially if they live in northern states or spend most of their time indoors. A woman from Minnesota told me she'd been struggling with terrible leg fatigue for years. Her doctor checked her vitamin D level and it was only 17. Within 3 months of taking 2,000 IU daily and getting 15 minutes of sun exposure when possible, her leg strength improved noticeably. She said it felt like someone turned the power back on in her legs. Here's the fix. Get your vitamin D level tested. It's a simple blood test called 25-hydroxyvitamin D. You want your level between 40 and 60 nanograms per milliliter for optimal vascular health. Most people over 60 need at least 2,000 IU of vitamin D3 daily. Some need more depending on their starting level. Take it with a meal that contains fat since it's fat soluble. This helps absorption. And this is important. Vitamin D works best when you have adequate magnesium in your system because magnesium is needed to activate vitamin D. So yes, magnesium matters, but it's not the star of the show for leg circulation. It's more like the supporting actor that helps other nutrients do their job. Now we're at number 4, and this is where things get really interesting. We're talking about vitamin E, specifically the natural form called D-alpha tocopherol. Vitamin E is a powerful antioxidant that protects the delicate lining of your blood vessels from damage. Think of the inside of your arteries like a smooth highway for blood cells. When that lining gets damaged by inflammation and oxidative stress, which happens more after 60, it becomes rough like a pothole-filled road. Blood doesn't flow smoothly anymore, and clots can form more easily. Medical research has shown that vitamin E helps keep that arterial lining smooth and healthy. It also prevents LDL cholesterol from oxidizing, which is crucial because oxidized cholesterol is what actually sticks to artery walls and creates blockages. Natural vitamin E has been shown in clinical practice to improve what doctors call flow-mediated dilation, basically how well your arteries can widen to increase blood flow. For your legs, this translates to better circulation during activity and less of that cramping, painful feeling when you walk. I've talked to men who were dealing with leg pain so severe they couldn't play with their grandchildren. One gentleman from Ohio started taking 400 IU of natural vitamin E daily, along with his other circulation-supporting nutrients. And after about 2 months, he noticed he could stand longer without his legs aching. The burning sensation in his calves when he walked gradually diminished. He told me it was the first time in 5 years he didn't have to plan his entire day around how much his legs could tolerate. Here's what you need to do. Look for natural vitamin E on the label. It'll say D-alpha tocopherol, not DL-alpha, which is synthetic and doesn't work as well. A dose of 400 to 800 IU daily is what doctors often recommend for vascular support. Take it with a meal since it's also fat soluble. You'll find vitamin E naturally in nuts, seeds, and green leafy vegetables, but most people over 60 need supplementation to reach therapeutic levels for circulation support. Results typically take 8 to 12 weeks, so you've got to be patient and consistent. Coming in at number 3, we've got vitamin B12, and this one is massively overlooked for leg circulation. Here's why this matters so much after 60. Vitamin B12 is essential for producing red blood cells, and red blood cells are what carry oxygen to your leg muscles. When you're deficient in B12, your body can't make enough healthy red blood cells, so even if blood is flowing to your legs, it's not carrying adequate oxygen. This creates that deep fatigue and weakness in your legs that feels different from just being tired. But there's more. B12 also helps regulate homocysteine levels in your blood. Homocysteine is an amino acid that, when elevated, damages blood vessel walls and promotes inflammation. Studies have found that older adults with high homocysteine levels have significantly worse circulation and higher risk of peripheral artery disease. Vitamin B12, along with folate and B6, helps keep homocysteine in check. The problem is that after 60, your stomach produces less acid and less of a protein called intrinsic factor, both of which you need to absorb B12 from food. This is why even seniors who eat plenty of meat and eggs can still be deficient. A woman from Florida told me about her experience with B12 deficiency. She's 64 and had been feeling this strange tingling and numbness in her feet for over a year. Her legs felt weak and heavy, like she was walking through mud. Her doctor tested her B12 level and it was only 200, which is technically in the normal range but far too low for optimal function. When she started taking a sublingual B12 supplement that dissolves under the tongue bypassing the stomach, within 6 weeks she noticed the tingling decreased. By 3 months her leg strength was noticeably better and she had more endurance for walking. So what do you need to do right now? Ask your doctor to test your B12 level. You want to see it above 400, ideally between 500 and 800 picograms per milliliter. If you're deficient, sublingual B12 or B12 injections work better than pills for people over 60 because of those absorption issues we talked about. A dose of 1,000 to 2,000 micrograms daily of methylcobalamin, the active form of B12, is what's typically recommended. You'll find B12 in animal products like meat, fish, eggs, and dairy, but again, absorption is the issue after 60, so supplementation is usually necessary. Give it at least 2 to 3 months to see improvements in leg circulation and strength. Now we're at number 2, and here's where most doctors won't even mention this option. We're talking about niacin, also called vitamin B3, but not just any form of niacin. Niacin has this remarkable ability to dilate blood vessels, meaning it widens them to improve blood flow. In fact, it's so effective at this that you'll actually feel it working. Some people experience what's called the niacin flush, a temporary warmth and redness in the skin that lasts 15 to 30 minutes. That's the blood vessels opening up. Here's what makes niacin powerful, specifically for leg circulation after 60. Research has shown that niacin improves endothelial function. Remember, that's the lining of your blood vessels we talked about earlier. Better endothelial function means your arteries can respond appropriately to signals from your body, widening when you need more blood flow during activity. Studies have found that niacin supplementation in people with peripheral artery disease improved their walking distance significantly. One study showed that patients taking extended release niacin were able to walk 30% farther before experiencing leg pain. Niacin also helps increase HDL cholesterol, the good kind, which actually helps remove plaque from arteries. This is the only nutrient that raises HDL significantly, with increases of 15 to 35% documented in medical research. For your legs, this means potentially reducing existing blockages over time while improving blood flow in the short term. I've heard from people who started taking niacin under their doctor's supervision and within weeks noticed they could walk to their mailbox without stopping, climb stairs without their legs burning, and sleep through the night without agonizing cramps. But here's what you absolutely must know. Niacin can interact with medications and isn't right for everyone. You need to work with a doctor on this one. The typical starting dose is 100 to 250 milligrams of immediate release niacin taken with food, gradually increasing over weeks. Extended release formulas reduce the flushing effect, but need to be monitored more carefully for liver function. Some people take a baby aspirin 30 minutes before niacin to minimize flushing. The effects on circulation can start within a few weeks, but the full benefits for walking distance and leg strength typically develop over 3 to 6 months of consistent use. And now we've arrived at number 1. This is it. This is the big one that could change everything for your leg circulation. We're talking about vitamin K2, specifically the MK7 form, and this is the vitamin that most people have never even heard of, despite how crucial it is for keeping calcium out of your arteries and in your bones where it belongs. Stay with me here because this connects to your leg situation in a way most people don't realize. Vitamin K2 activates proteins in your body that regulate calcium placement. There's a protein called matrix GLA protein that acts like a calcium traffic cop in your arteries. When it's activated by vitamin K2, it prevents calcium from depositing in your arterial walls and actually helps remove calcium that's already there. Without adequate K2, this protein can't do its job, and calcium builds up in your leg arteries, causing them to stiffen and narrow. Medical research published in major cardiology journals has shown that people with higher vitamin K2 intake have significantly less arterial calcification and better arterial flexibility. Here's where this gets really exciting for leg circulation after 60. A groundbreaking study published in October 2024 in JAMA Internal Medicine, one of the most prestigious medical journals, found that vitamin K2 supplementation at 180 micrograms daily significantly reduced the frequency, duration, and severity of nocturnal leg cramps in older adults. These researchers followed people for 8 weeks and found that the vitamin K2 group had a 64% reduction in cramp frequency compared to placebo. This wasn't just marginal improvement. People's quality of life genuinely improved. They could sleep through the night. They could be more active during the day because they weren't exhausted from being woken up by cramps. But the benefits for leg circulation go way beyond cramps. By reducing arterial calcification, vitamin K2 helps restore flexibility to your leg arteries. Think of it like this. Stiff, calcified arteries are like old, brittle rubber hoses that can't expand and contract. When you get vitamin K2 working in your system, those arteries gradually become more supple again, able to dilate when you need increased blood flow. This means more oxygen reaching your leg muscles, less pain when you walk, better endurance, and that heavy dragging feeling in your legs starts to lift. According to long-term studies in the journal Atherosclerosis, daily vitamin K2 can reduce your risk of developing peripheral artery disease, especially if you have hypertension or diabetes, which many people over 60 do. Let me tell you about Robert from Pennsylvania. He's 72 and had been struggling with terrible leg pain for 3 years. He couldn't walk more than half a block before his calves would cramp up so badly he'd have to stop and rest. He'd been taking magnesium for years with no real improvement. His doctor tested him for vitamin K2 status, which isn't a standard test but can be done, and found he was severely deficient. He started taking 200 micrograms of vitamin K2 MK7 daily. Within the first month, his nighttime leg cramps decreased noticeably. By the 3rd month, he was walking 3 times farther before experiencing any leg pain. At 6 months, he told me he felt like he had new legs. The constant aching was gone. He could garden again. He could play with his grandkids without his legs giving out. Now, here's the critical thing about vitamin K2. It's almost impossible to get enough from diet alone in America. It's found in high amounts in a Japanese food called natto, which is fermented soybeans, but most Americans don't eat that. You'll get small amounts from grass-fed butter, egg yolks from pastured chickens, and certain cheeses, but nowhere near the therapeutic amounts needed to reverse arterial calcification. This is why supplementation is essential. You want the MK7 form of K2 because it stays active in your body much longer than other forms, about 72 hours compared to just a few hours for MK4. Here's what you need to do right now. Look for vitamin K2 MK7 supplements. A dose of 100 to 200 micrograms daily is what's used in most studies showing circulation benefits. It's fat soluble, so take it with a meal containing some fat for best absorption. And this is really important if you're on blood-thinning medications like warfarin or Coumadin. You must talk to your doctor before taking vitamin K2 because it can affect how those medications work. However, many doctors are now recognizing that low-dose vitamin K2 can actually stabilize blood clotting factors and make those medications work more predictably, but this absolutely requires medical supervision. It takes time for K2 to work its magic. Don't expect overnight results. Most people start noticing improvements in leg cramps within 4 to 8 weeks. The improvements in walking distance and leg strength typically develop over 3 to 6 months as the vitamin gradually reduces arterial calcification and improves blood vessel flexibility. But I cannot stress this enough. Consistency is everything. You've got to take it daily, make it part of your routine like brushing your teeth. And here's what makes vitamin K2 the foundation. It works synergistically with vitamin D. Remember how we talked about vitamin D earlier? Vitamin D helps your body absorb calcium from food. But without vitamin K2, that calcium can end up in your arteries instead of your bones. This is why taking vitamin D alone, which millions of Americans do, can potentially make arterial calcification worse if you're K2 deficient. You need both working together. D brings the calcium into your body, K2 directs it to the right place. They're a team. So let's put all this together with a simple implementation roadmap because I don't want you feeling overwhelmed. Start with getting tested. Ask your doctor for vitamin D, vitamin B12, and if possible, a measure of arterial stiffness. Begin with vitamin K2 MK7 at 100 to 200 micrograms daily and vitamin D3 at 2000 IU daily taken together with a fatty meal. Add vitamin B12 as a sublingual supplement 1000 micrograms daily. Include natural vitamin E at 400 IU daily with food. If you and your doctor determine niacin is appropriate for you, start low and increase gradually under medical supervision. Give this protocol at least 3 months. That's 90 days of consistency. You're not going to wake up next week with perfect leg circulation. Your body needs time to reduce inflammation, decrease arterial calcification, improve blood vessel lining health, and restore proper blood flow. But here's what you can realistically expect. Within 4 to 8 weeks, many people notice their nighttime leg cramps decrease significantly. By 3 months, that heavy feeling in your legs when you walk often improves. By 6 months, walking distance and endurance typically show measurable improvement. I want you to understand something crucial. Poor leg circulation after 60 is not inevitable. It's not just how it is now. It's a sign that your body needs specific nutrients to repair and maintain your vascular system. Every day you wait is another day your leg muscles are oxygen starved, your arteries are calcifying further, and your mobility is declining. But the beautiful thing is that your body wants to heal. Given the right nutrients, it has an incredible capacity to restore function even after years of deficiency. You deserve to walk without pain. You deserve to sleep through the night without being jolted awake by cramps. You deserve to have the energy and mobility to do the things you love, whether that's gardening, playing with grandchildren, traveling, or just feeling confident that your legs will support you when you need them. Don't let another doctor dismiss your symptoms as just part of aging. Arm yourself with this information. Get tested. Start supplementing wisely. Give your body the tools it needs. If you found this information valuable, please hit that like button and share this video with anyone in your life who's struggling with poor leg circulation. Leave a comment telling me what symptoms you're experiencing and where you're watching from. I read every single comment, and your experiences help other viewers feel less alone in this journey. Subscribe to this channel and hit the notification bell so you never miss videos that could genuinely change your health. Remember, your best years can still be ahead of you. You've got the knowledge now. The only question is, what are you going to do with it? Take action today. Your legs will thank you.